Hello everyone, I hope you must doing well. So welcome to this video lecture, and in this video lecture we are going to study about the proportional editing in Blender. Alright, so it is very powerful feature in Blender, and with this feature help we can influence the nearby areas also, and those areas can be the vertex, faces or the edge, right? So you can see on the screen, right, it is a Blender file. So we can get started from the scratch and we can delete this thing. Okay, and regarding the viewport shading, you can switch by this drop down under the viewport. Probably you are having this thing, right? But due to for the eyes reason, right, I would like to work with black background, right? So yeah, so shift A, screencast is there over here. Okay, so shift A, we should add a plane and we can increase the size of it, and let's subdivide the plane. Okay, for example, if I use any of the drop down option or the parameter, for example the smooth, it will not going to work because we don't have that topology on it, right? So be in the edit mode and select the face, as the plane is only having the one face. So we are going to select the face and we can press right click, and there is option for the subdivide, right? And without clicking anywhere on the screen, there is a one option over here. So number of cut is there, so we needed to go by 25. It is a bit big number, but it is just for the illustration purpose, so don't worry about that. Yeah, so right now you can see that although I am in the object mode, but then even we can see the all the edge flow, right? So if you also want that, so over the underlays there is option for under the geometry of wireframe, right? So probably it is switch off in your Blender file, so that's why the edge or the faces are not visible in the object mode. And so you can switch on that wireframe option if you want the edge flow should be visible in the object mode, right? But as we are going to work in the edit mode itself, so we don't need that. Okay, so that feature is over here. So there are two ways to switch on this feature. The first thing is that you needed to click over it by using your mouse, right? Or you can press O in your keyboard, O for orange, so that you can switch on or the off anytime as your wish or as per your requirement. Okay, so initially there are two options for connected only and project from view, right? And here we are having different parameters and each parameter having the different results, right? So we going to get into these things by after discussing these things over here, right? So let's discuss about the smooth thing. So there is nothing to different in that. We can learn about each type by having differentiating the different result. What does these all different parameters are going to be, right? So for example, we are having the smooth one, right? So we needed to, you can be in the vertex, edge or the face mode, right? But for the better visualize purpose, let's be in the vertex mode. So we can select any of the vertex and you can use the move tool over here to move that thing, or you can move by G and Z if you are the keyboard user, right? Completely up to you. So when you gonna press the G in your keyboard, right, whatever option listed over here, right? Okay, so whatever option you are selected, even so whenever you are going to move anything, the circle will get appear, right? And that circle determines that how much area is going to be influenced by the setting which you set with over here, right? So you can increase or decrease that circle. For example, over here that circle is there, and you can use the mid mouse wheel to increase or to decrease the influence of the parameter you are selected with over here, right? But I just want that smooth effect over here even, right? So that's why I only want over here, so I don't want that circle that much big, right? So we can use the move tool and we can just put it more, scale it in the Z direction, right? And just take another example, for example sharp, right? So as the name suggests, it is going to be something going to be make a little bit sharper, right? So if I select this vertex over here and move it like this, right, only one parameter is changed from smooth to sharp, right? So it is completely from the view that what result the smooth is going to be give and what result the sharp is going to give, right? For example, we can use the sphere one, right? So probably it is going to have, let's use over here, right? And one more thing, like as the color over here it is different, so that you can also switch. For example, probably you are by default under the material or in the studio light, right? So you needed to switch into the matte cap, and there are different options you can play with that completely up to you. No, in that I think we can keep this. It is just a viewport shading, right? It does not going to affect on your render, right? As we are not providing or rendering anything, it is just to explain a thing. Okay, let's keep it white. I think it is good. Visual purpose, right? So under this we are now selected with the sphere, right? We can have this, right? So you can get the difference. For example, over here, yeah, so you can get the difference, like whatever shape it is over here, right, or the logo over here, right, or the graphic, you can say that effect that parameter is going to give you, right? So let's take a example of constant, right? So before using it, let's assume what it is going to do. For example, let's take an example of annotation. So we can have, like, this is a curve, right? These all are different curves, but for now we are selected with constant, right? So if I tell you, like if I given you a task, for example this is the curve and you needed to convert this curve into the constant curve, right? So what thing you are going to tell me, you going to have some things like this, right? So over here this is the curve, and what type of curve it is going to depend, but just for the explaining about the constant thing, right? And we are having the constant over here, right? So if I move the vertex over here by selecting the constant one, right, so we can see, let's make it over here so that we are having the good area of influence, right? So it is completely in front of you, like what does the constant is doing, right? So I hope you got that also. And regarding that random one, right, so let's erase these annotation. Regarding the random one, it is also completely up to the name even, right? Even the graph which is showed over here. For example, this is a simple curve and I given you a task to randomize it, right? So what you are going to do, you're probably having this thing, right? So the exact thing that randomize or the random is going to do, right? So let's explain that also. We are selected with random and we can have this, right? So what it did, it is scaling whatever direction you are scaling that mesh, it is doing, but as we are scaling, and that scaling is going to be in a random form, right? For example, we are using the random and we scaled something with the 1, right? For example, let's suppose an example, we are scaling with 1 unit, and for example there are 4 vertex, right, which we are scaling, right? So what it is going to do, for example, if we selected with constant, right, so it will scale all these vertex with a 1 value because we selected with the constant, right? But as we selected with the random one, right, so whatever values we scaled with, here we taken, or we assumed that we taken with 1 value. So what it will do, it will scale the individual point differently, right? It is bit small, it is for example big thing, or this one for example very big, or this thing for example very small, or in a mid, right? So all 4 vertex are scaled into different size, right? Why I taken only the size example, because we are using that size parameter to influence the area, right? So that's why we can erase all these things. So I hope you got what does all these things do, and let's take another example to explain you about the different parameters which I talked initially regarding. Yeah, okay, we can hide this thing for now, and again we needed to subdivide it. So right click and subdivide, we can again go by 25, right? So let's take example of project from view, right? And you can take any of these, right? But for the simplicity purpose, let's take the example or set with the smooth one, right? And whatever feature or whatever effect project from view it is going to be, it does not depend upon these parameter, right? So you can select any of these. Just to explain you, I just selected with the smooth one, right? So what does the project from view do, right? For example, if you increase this thing like this, right, let's disable for now, like this. Okay, so it is scaling only those vertex which are in that influence of that circle, right? But if I do with project from view, what it will do, it will scale from the view, right, as it is scaled from this direction, right? So probably you didn't understand that, so let me explain you in a right way. So you already know that by pressing 1 we are going to be in the front mode, right? So for that, as it is completely having approximately the nil width, so to do that, let's have this cube as a reference so that we have that idea, right? So let's select with the 1 vertex, okay, and we are in the front mode, and we selected with the smooth one, and we are with double tick the on feature, that is project from view, right? So now if I move the move tool in a Z direction, what it will going to do, it will move the whole edge or the influence from the view, right? But as I am using the same thing without the project from view, it is influencing those areas which are only under that circle of influence, and if I on over here, so it is somehow it is going to influence those areas which are project from view, right? As we are in the perspective mode, that's why you didn't able to understand what is the project from view, right? But when I go into the orthographic mode, so we understood that what does the project from view it is doing, right? So it is completely scaling the whole vertex, the whole area over here, right? Why it is scaling the whole area? Because it is projecting from view, right? The whole area, right? So yeah, it is about the project from view, and we can take the same plane and we can delete the cube, and the last option which is left, that is connected only, right? So it is same one but a bit different. For example, let's take the annotation example. Yeah, so what I want, let's have the line this. Okay, yeah. I want wait a minute, surface. Okay, so it will draw on the surface of the plane, right? It is on the surface. So what I want, let's assume we only want to influence some areas over here, for example this area, right? Let's use the different color, you will understand but in a minute. Okay, blue one, okay, no issue in that. So what we want, make it green. Okay, yeah. So what we want something like this. Okay, we want something shape over here which we just made, right? Like annotation one is completely bad one. Okay, so what we want the same shape over here, we want that same shape over here also, but we don't want to influence the other areas over here, right? So if I move this area over like this, then it is influencing these areas, right? But we are the intelligent person, as I told in the initial minute of this lecture, that you can increase or decrease the influence of it, right? So you can have this thing. Okay, so it is going to work, but sometime what thing we have, let's delete this face, right? So now if we, for example, move this thing like this, okay, and increase the influence bit, so you can see as these two faces over here, right? Which faces I'm talking about? This face, whole face, and this whole face, right? These two are not connected with each other and they are completely divided from each other, as I just deleted the faces from the mid. But then even it is influencing the area, right? So why it is doing that? Because it is still a single mesh, right? It is still a single mesh. So for that, what we can do, just hide the annotation. Okay, so what option or the feature we have over here, right? So that is connected only. So what it is going to do, whether it is the single object, right? But if you check with connected only, so it will affect only those areas which are connected, right? For example, if we selected this vertex then whether we are going to increase any amount, right, it will only going to influence this face region over here, right, because we are using the connected only, right, for example like this. But if I switch off the connector only, we can see it is influencing the both the areas, right. So when you having this option on, so what it will do, that if you are having different faces areas and you don't want to influence those areas which are not connected, so this option can be useful for you. So yeah, this is about this connected only option, and I think I covered everything. All right, and I think, yeah, everything regarding this parameter you can explain, you can subdivide the plane and you can experiment by yourself. And these two features are there which I needed to explain bit regarding the connected only and project from view, so which I did. And yeah, we can end this video, but also like any video or the on any topic you want in future, then let me know in the comment. And if you like videos, then also let me know. And if you didn't like the video, then let me know whether why you didn't like the video or how I can improve it. Okay, so yeah, bye bye, take care.